Good morning, everybody. How many of you have heard of ArcGIS Hub? But how many of you feel like you know what it is? You're right, okay. So let's get started. What is ArcGIS Hub? ArcGIS Hub is a cloud-based engagement platform that lets you work more effectively with your communities. So most of us do a lot of work inside of our organizations, but there comes a point where we want to or should start collaborating with people external to our organizations. And that's what ArcGIS Hub is about. It's to facilitate that engagement. So what do we mean by community? We have a very broad definition of community. It's not just the layperson at home. It's really anyone that you need to collaborate with or engage. So if you're in government, that might be universities or citizen scientists or other levels of government. If you're a nonprofit, that might be universities and government or citizen scientists. So whoever's in the middle of the hub, it's anybody outside of your organization that you need to work with, right? So it's a broad definition of community. And why should you bother to engage them? Well, eventually you want other people to be informed, ideally, right? That's kind of a basic thing. If there's some policy or some objective you're working on, you want them to be on board, possibly participate, contribute data. That's probably a strong theme here. How can you get data? Also align efforts. Wouldn't it be great if we all worked in alignment and align resources? So those are some of the reasons to engage. So how are some of the ways that organizations do engage? One is simply through sharing data and content. That's kind of a first step. That's like a baby step, but it's an important step. So how do you share data and content, right? The other way we engage is through creating a common understanding on a specific topic or a special initiative, right? The other way we engage is getting data and feedback in from our communities. And then working more deeply is kind of the fourth way. So how do we really collaborate and work together as virtual teams? So those are the four ways. And these are the ways that ArcGIS Hub can help you, and I'll go through each one of these, and we'll take a look at how Hub helps each one of those stages. So first, a little housekeeping. ArcGIS Hub is built on ArcGIS Online. So how many of you here have ArcGIS Online, or access to ArcGIS Online? Pretty much everybody, right? So the good news is that the basic level of ArcGIS Hub is included with ArcGIS Online. And that level will allow you to easily share data and content, which I'll show you, and improve an understanding on specific topics, which I'll show you. So if you have it, you can actually get started. There is a premium level of the product, which we'll also talk about those features and functionality as well. So sharing data and content, this is something you can do right now because you have ArcGIS Online. And most of the time we hear about this in the form of what are called open data sites or sharing open data, but Hub actually allows you to also share private content. It used to be that to create sites in ArcGIS Hub, you had to have what are called open data groups, or tag your groups as open data, to get that content to appear in your site and allow people to search it. That's no longer the case as of the last user conference. You can now add all kinds of content to your site, so a site can actually serve many audiences, so keep that in mind. This is an example of a marine site where they're sharing data openly, and then you'll commonly see that they also create galleries of apps as well. So let me click this site and see if that browser will open. And we'll just take a quick look. So this is the main Department of Marine Resource Open Data. I tried to get very ocean-y for this, just so you know. I tried to flip everything to ocean and atmosphere. So this is them sharing their data. And if I'm a casual user or a researcher and I want to know more about lobsters, when I click their categories as they categorize their data, now I can find all the data that they are sharing openly about lobsters. I guess lobster zones, maybe how many pounds of lobster. I'm getting hungry, right? Sorry. Anyway, so you can learn all about the lobster. And this is what, if you share your data as open data or on a site, and it's searchable, this is the experience people get. They can search by a topic. You can categorize the topics for them. They can query for what they want to query. So if they're looking for data, they can filter your content by data, documents, apps that you've created. So it's all here for people to easily find and consume. So that's one way of sharing, and that's the open data experience. Go back. So how does the content get into the site? Like if you're like main, how did it get in there? Well, as I mentioned, ArcGIS Hub is built on online, so we're pulling content that you might already have in ArcGIS Online. And we have something in our sites called a content library. And what you do is you pick the groups from your ArcGIS Online organization that you'd like to have appear or available through search or some of those category searches like I just showed you, or in your galleries. And again, those groups of content can be private data, meaning just shared with your organization or specific teams, as well as any kind of group that's public or an open data group. And when you tag a group as an open data group, what that does is it makes it easy for others to find when they create their open data sites. And so then you really start this content sharing, or this real hub of sharing. So right now, you go to the content library, you pick your groups. Coming soon, what we're working on right now is the ability to directly upload content to your website without going into ArcGIS Online, so it saves you a step. And then when that's in place, we will automatically put it back into ArcGIS Online for you as a group. So that's how the mechanics work. So that's just basic open or sharing content. So the next level is like, well, that's great, but maybe I want to set context around what I'm doing. You know, I've got this data, but I want to explain a little bit more about it or get people more involved and engaged and excited. So I found this as an example last night. You can create websites with ArcGIS Hub, and you can make beautiful websites easily. This happens to be a very customized website. They've really done a lot of custom work. But you don't have to, and we'll show you how you do it. So this was something called Blue Carbon Agenda I discovered last night just through searching our public hub content. And if you scroll that site, you can see they've kept it very simple. I'm learning a lot about mangroves through this conference. So, and this is in Indonesia, but you can see how beautiful it is. And then it does get down to the content. So at the bottom, they've linked out to ArcGIS applications that they've created. One's a story map, some dashboards. So again, the apps that you're creating just framed in a really beautiful way that's compelling and engaging. And that was, again, created by a couple of women at a university there in Indonesia. And these are some other examples of kind of special topic websites. You know, we're very familiar with the SDGs, right? The Sustainable Development Goals. And you can see there's one from the UAE, Ireland, and then in the middle, the Nature Conservancy is doing some work, and they're highlighting their work. So these sites are very easy to create. So let's build a site, because you have this capability, all of you. If you have ArcGIS Online, you have Hub Basic, and you have the ability to create a site. So let's do it. So I've logged into my an ArcGIS Online organization that just has the basic level of the product. If you're used to going into ArcGIS Online, you can find Hub in the app switcher. And if you want to do it now, you can. I won't be offended if you're trying this live. You can go to ArcGIS, click Hub, and that will launch you into hub.arcgis.com. You can also go directly to hub.arcgis.com and sign in. And when I do that, you can see I've got a couple of options. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. You can create a site or manage your content. I'm going to start by creating a brand new site from scratch. I feel like I should call it Ocean's 11 or something. Let's do it. I take requests. We can make this an improv demo. Throw out your suggestion. Okay, so I'm going to create a website. And now it's creating things for me on the back end. It's creating my site. And it will land me on a default website template, which is just a basic layout of a site. And I'm immediately going to start customizing it because it's not at all particular or specific to my domain. So one of the first things I like to do is change the banner image. And where I do that is, well, first of all, let me click the gear. These gears provide settings for everything on your site. And I like to go to a site like Unsplash, which has free imagery. And I search for ocean, and I'm going to copy this image. And I'm going to come back. And I can either upload an image from my background, or I can cut and paste this one in. And just like that, I think I've improved the look of the site. And you can start editing. So we have a rich text editor built into the site tools, so you don't need to know HTML or CSS. Because if you're like me, you don't. so that's why we drove those requirements. Those women in the Indonesian site, that was really beautiful. That was all probably very custom HTML and CSS, but you can just start creating sites right away, whatever you want to type. And you can center the text, you can make it bigger, you can, let's see, do the alignment center, make it bigger, bold it, all that, again, no HTML. And you can see here, that's where you start to have some of the search coming in. These are the categories you saw, like on the main site. So if I wanted to control the content on my site, I can change this to something like water. I can go pick an icon for this, and we have some icons built in, or you can upload your own. And I think I saw something that looked like water. There we go. Change the color, make it blue. So the content that would be hooked to this category, I could either use tagged content in ArcGIS Online or use a group to drive the content that's behind that category. The other thing we can do, there's lots of layout options. So if I want to add a new row to my site, I simply add a new row, go back to my layout. Let's say I want to have a gallery. Let's say I've been working really hard, which you all have, right? You've been working really hard, and you've been making really great maps, analysis, apps, and you want to share them quickly. So I created a row, and I added a gallery card to it. This gallery will let me feature apps, dashboards, data sets, whatever I have. It can be driven by tags in your content or by groups. In this case, but I'm a control freak. I like to kind of manually control my gallery. So you can also sculpt it by picking the content and then choosing the order. So I have you can search for my content. I have some really great apps. You can tell because I've named them that. Makes it easy to find too. So I added my apps in. So these could be whatever you've created, right? And just add it that easy. And now I want to change my button to view app, whatever you want to call it. I can style this a little bit more. Like I want some drop shadow action. Maybe I want rounded corners. It's really fun, right? So with that, I can save my site. I can choose to make it public or just maybe share it with my organization. So again, that's the idea. Like you can have public sites, private sites. It's up to you. Pretty easy, right? You could do this. Yes, you can do this. You're going to do this? Right? Okay, you're going to leave here and go make a site. How many of you have made a site already? Just that. No, you don't care. Nobody's made a site. So now do you feel inspired you can go make a site? Yes. Awesome. Oh, one other thing before I leave, in homage to this, you can also bring in external media. So if you have videos, if you have social media, I'm going to drag a little social media card here. And I just happen to have Dawn Wright's Twitter feed. Let's see if this works. If I copy the URL for that, and I go back into my Twitter feed, I should be able to just paste it. And now I've got tweets from Dawn Wright showing up on my... So if she tweets about how great your site is, you could put it right on your site. Anyway, so it's really fun and kind of addictive once you start doing it. So with that, go create your first site. So I created a site, but it was still kind of one way. It's me telling you how great I am and how great my apps are. But let's say I want to engage the public a little bit more and collect feedback from them. Maybe I have citizen scientists, and I want them to go take a survey app and go gather it for me, but I don't want it to be anonymous. I want them to have an identity in my system. This is where we get into some of the premium capabilities of Hub. Hub Premium comes with identities for community members outside of your organization. And this is great, especially if they don't have ArcGIS Online or any kind of identity in a GIS system. If it's just a citizen scientist, they show up for your event to volunteer, you can give them identity. They can sign up and create an account and start gathering data for you with their identity. So one example of this, it's not an ocean, sorry, but I think it's really great, is that there's this nonprofit in Montana that is asking cyclists to cycle around Montana and report, use survey 123, sign in, report where they see roadkill. Then they're going to use that data and work with the Department of Transportation in Montana to figure out mitigation strategies. So if they find a hotspot where a lot of elk are getting killed, maybe they need a wildlife bridge or something like that, right? So the cyclists, because they have their community members and they have the premium level of the subscription of Hub, they can give all those members identity. And it's super easy for those people to self-sign up. You saw on the previous screen, they just had a join button. They create their account, and now they can start cycling and gathering data with identity. And this is an example where now I know that Sam Carlson found an ungulate, dead ungulate, somewhere. So, but imagine that for your projects, right? If you have a volunteer and you need to gather data. So that's just getting data in, but let's say you want to work more collaboratively. I really want a team, I want a partner, I'm good at creating sites, but somebody else external to me is better at creating sites for this particular initiative or project. And we like to use the word initiative because it's all about action. It's all about engagement and action. And an initiative means action, right? We're going to do something about this. So Hub also allows you to have provides an initiative framework that lets you organize your teams. And again, they can be staff, they can be external to your organization, but usually around a topic. And then Hub has this initiative framework that allows you to manage your teams, manage the content shared to those teams, and manage the engagement tools and feedback you're getting in, as well as measure performance. How well are you engaging the community? So let's take a look there. And how am I for time? I guess I'm running out of time. Let me know. I'm fine, okay. So I'm going to sign out of this. Let me close out. Didn't save my site. Let me go to Hub. Actually, let's make sure I'm signed out all over. So I'm going to sign into hub.arcgis.com with an organization that has Hub, which is, I have an org called Hub Club, which you will all hopefully join one day. So now I'm signing in. This is an organization that has the premium level of the product, and you'll see there's a little bit of a difference, which is now I have initiatives which provide me more capabilities. So I happen to have a recent initiative I was working on, which was my Healthy Oceans initiative. And I, again, made a site here. And what I've added, some of the things you might notice that's a little different when you have the premium level and you can have these community members, is you get some more capabilities to your site. One of those is the ability to have people follow your initiative or join it. And if I go to my layout, my cards I could add to the site, you'll see there's a follow button that I placed on my site. And now when I make the site public, if people choose to join it, they get a sign-in and they can create a community account. And now I have followers for my initiative that are external to my organization that I can control. Some of the other things that are different here is I can have events. So the premium product has like a miniature Eventbrite. And so when those community members sign up for your event, they also go into your community. And what's great is you can start to manage that community. You can start to message them. You can start to organize them into teams. So here is just to show you real quick, some of the difference here is I have my site, but I have teams, I have events, I have my community. And I believe it just so happens I didn't have followers for this one yet. But if I made it public, you would see the follower button, and you would see me in the community and be able to message me. So I feel like I'm running out of time. But I'm happy to expound more on the capabilities of the premium level, because it really is the next level of engagement, where you're starting to organize people, share the content to those external members, and communicate with them. One of the things to note on this, going back to my site, is I've added like a survey here, like which fish did you see? And then here's my event. So if I view that, let me go. So this is if I'm Now I'm in an incognito tab, just as a follower, if I choose to follow that. Now, because I have identity, here's what I did. I created a site, I created a survey, I shared that survey only to my followers, say only to my volunteers, let's say. And now when they go to their incognito tab and I signed in as a community version of me, and then as a volunteer, that survey showed up for me, just me, because I was signed up. And now I can sign into that survey and take that and gather data for you, as well as attend events. So this is another way to get content in from external people using those community identities. So if I were to sign out, boom, that's gone. I have to sign in to get that content as a community member. So that's how you can now start to use Hub, a website, to control who sees which content, including members external to your organization. So collaborate, imagine all the collaborative partners you could work with doing this. So with that, that's all I have.